Documentarian Mallory organizes a winter getaway at a country house for her boyfriend, Alex, mainly so he can recover from a terrifying sleepwalking episode that ended with a call to emergency services. Mallory plans to film Alex constantly so he can later see how he behaves in his sleep and possibly remember something. But the change of scenery does no good. Alex's sleepwalking becomes increasingly strange and frightening. The peak popularity of found footage horror has long passed, but for aspiring filmmakers, this technique remains one of the most accessible ways to make a name for themselves. Such films still have a dedicated fan base, and the cost of failure is much lower than with a traditional narrative film. After all, deliberately rough handheld camera work not only enhances immersion but is also perfect for hiding a lack of budget. The creators of the horror film Dream Eater, Alex Lee Williams, Jay Drakulic, and Mallory Drumm, aren't exactly newcomers, but their path is typical for many. They've been in films since the early 2000s, but their filmographies consist mostly of short films. Dream Eater is their second feature. Their first, the thriller Helmington, was made in 2018 with a grant obtained through the Canadian initiative platform Cinecoup. Helmington went largely unnoticed, so after that the filmmakers returned to shorts until they were ready for a second attempt. The low-budget horror Dream Eater, on which they saved money everywhere, including on actors. The lead roles in Dream Eater were played by Williams and Drumm themselves, and their characters share their real-life names. Together with Drakulic, they served as the film's writers, directors, and producers, which helped them stay within an almost symbolic budget of $40,000. The finished film was screened at several genre festivals, where it caught the attention of veteran horror filmmaker Eli Roth, who decided to release it through his company, The Horror Section. Under his guidance, the ending was tweaked slightly, but otherwise Roth chose not to change anything. Dream Eater already seemed effective and scary enough to him. Whether you share his opinion depends on many factors, the main one being your willingness to watch Dream Eater not primarily as a horror film, but first and foremost as a relationship drama, because that's what everything here is built upon. Alex and Mallory are a couple. They've been together for 3 years, and their relationship is strong and stable. They don't yet perceive Alex's sleepwalking, which started about a year ago, as a serious problem. But the situation takes an increasingly grim turn. If one wishes, a second layer, a metaphor for addiction, can be searched for, but in this case, it's not particularly important. What matters is that the creators build convincing suspense on the idea that a person so close and familiar during the day can become distant and dangerous at night. For this to work in the horror genre, the creators needed to portray Alex and Mallory's closeness as convincingly as possible, and they succeeded. It's clear that we're watching not just actors, but people who genuinely know and are comfortable with each other. This approach has a side effect. For about 2/3 of its runtime, Dream Eater is rather dull mumblecore built on everyday chatter about nothing. However, this serves to emphasize and amplify Alex's nightly transformations, which by contrast carry a dark, sinister vibe. Although, admittedly, from a directorial standpoint, the trio never really figured out how to fundamentally intensify the horror scenes. So many years have passed since the Blair Witch Project, and we're still being scared by a person standing silently and motionless in a corner. In this case, though, he's also naked, an unintentional but very precise metaphor for indie horror.